All right. Hello, hello, hello. Good evening, everybody. It is Zero Quirks Legends Gaming. Black Desert Mobile. Welcome, welcome, and happy Wednesday night. What's up, yo yo? What's up, War Child? Welcome, welcome in. War Child, you sent me a message. +9 rune of protection. Ooh, hey there, Elridge. All right. So it's a day after patch. And once again, this patch was a little bit smaller than last week's. Um, so we've got Atumach starting in about 7 minutes. And then after that, it'll be we'll probably fiddle around in the desert because I haven't done my temples yet. I might also do some Trials of Ator because the elites reset. And then we'll do Garmoth, and then we will go from there. We'll see. Um, but what I wanted to do tonight, like after we run Atumach, kind of wanted to talk about kind of what my sense was as far as coming out of the Calpheon Ball, the 4-year anniversary, and the things that they've announced and the trajectory of the game, right? From where it was to where these updates seem to be going. So. Um, and I wanted to have that discussion with you guys because um they're making some like pretty big fundamental changes to the underlying systems of the game, um both good and possibly bad. um Not gonna like the new Black Sun. The rewards look amazing. The Land of the Morning Light Black Sun event, um that's on my list for us to talk about. Now it's coming, and it was released in Korea. But I wanted to um, talk about kind of like how these changes, like what it feels like for gameplay. Now, I'm also going to talk about like how it feels for like the experienced players, like most of us that have been around for the past 4 years, right? Like for a couple of years at least. And then for those that are coming that are new players, right? Those are coming in and starting a new account and using the seasonals to try to catch up. Um, my initial hot take is they've made some huge fundamental changes market and what is available to buy in the market for silver. Um, and it's huge. So when we think about this game, it is a pay to win MMO. There's, there should be absolutely no arguments that this is a pay to win MMO. Okay, but that doesn't mean that this game can't be fun for the free to play players. It's all about the mindset that you go into this game, because there's plenty of things that you can do as a free to play player. That's a lot of fun that you can get involved with. There are just limitations to what you're able to do and the enjoyment that you can get out of specific PvP gameplay. That being said, there have been a lot of adjustments, especially in the past year and a half, um, that have tried to address um, some of those concerns while not devaluing the money that was spent by the whales. So basically, a long rant incoming after I run Atumach. And by rant, I don't necessarily mean that it's going to be a bad rant. I'm just going to say it's going to be like a long stream of consciousness, like a lot of things that I've been chewing on since the Calpheon Ball. That is starting to kind of formulate in my head about like where this game is headed and what it means for those of us that love to play this game, and want to get your feedback and your thoughts and ideas, whether you agree or disagree. So that is what's on the agenda for tonight. Now, Oh, oh. Fifth place, here we come. Oof. Oh, not Chrome. Oh, Hey, fourth place. All right. Well, we got the fourth place in that Atumach. Okay. Mm, 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 mm. Okay, so get on our Ellie and start doing some temples. All right. So it has been a month since Coffee on Ball, and at the Coffee on Ball, they laid out a bunch of um, content that they are laying out for the next. I mean, primarily like 2 to 3 months. Now, one of the biggest systematic changes that they're making is they're making changes to the market and what is available to buy with silver. And what that means for like experienced players and for new players. Um, so number one, uh, why are they now allowing us to sell accessories, dim frags, chaos crystals, all of these things for silver on the market? Um, they're permitting the sales of this on the market now because um, of just the pure quantity of the material you need in order to upgrade. And so they want to make it available in the market so that people are able to uh, purchase from the market if it's available and continue to make progress CP wise. Now, why did they not have this available before? Why are they doing it now, right? 4 years later. It's not like they didn't already have these systems in place because, I mean, let's face it, like BDM Korea has has been out 18 months before us, right? Well, I forgot when the last time I talked about this. Like the what they decided to do with the global version was to have the global version just kind of walk the similar um, revenue path as BDM Korea, and basically like what has happened is like the amount, I mean the revenue for this game, like from the global perspective, is massive. So the then the other question is like they have more than enough revenue, right? Like they could have made this more player friendly earlier so as to like maintain a stronger player base. Well, I mean that's clearly not the revenue model that they chose. And so why now? I think it was about a month ago I said what it seems to me that what Perlibus has decided, the revenue model that they're going to go for is not for sustaining experienced players, but for new players, for new accounts. And that is why these market changes are happening now. Um, it seems like what they are betting on um, is that there is still a large enough audience of like mobile MMO players that have not experienced Black Desert, and so will come in and go through the now revamped new player experience with the seasonal character, enjoy it more, and then choose to, start spending on the game to catch up in power. Now, um, the interesting thing here is that like the gap in power for new players versus where the established players are is significantly greater now um, than it has been after like any of the big major updates that the game went through, right? The percentage gap in CP when Haddam was released from the top player to like the top 1,000th player was not as large as it is now. Um, and like with every major release since basically since they released um character ascension, every major release since character ascension has only grown the gap between the top CP player and the, let's say, the 1,000th CP player. I don't think I have enough. So but now what they're relying on is the bet that new players will stick around. But because the gap is still so large between the top and the 1,000, they needed more ways for people to catch up. And the funny thing is like for new players, they're going to be so short in silver anyways that the changes here are actually not that beneficial to them, because a lot of them will have to actually get to specific points in the story that'll take a while for them to get to before they're able to, get the benefits of it, right? Like being able to get 50 billion silver a week from the cursed pirate island. Okay? You have to get to ocean in order to do that. And to get to ocean, it means you have to go through all the way through Southwest Kafian, and then I think ocean opens up. Oh no. Ocean opens up, it still opens up after desert. So it's a long time. So then so why make that change? It it's a pretty hefty bet to say that it will benefit newer players, but it will definitely benefit the existing players to be able to buy more resources on the market. And then you think, well, okay, but doesn't that mean that the CP gap will only grow wider? Well, yes. So the interesting thing is that, like, while I think it is a really good idea to make more resources available on the marketplace for people to trade, the end result is actually worse for new players, because new players actually don't have access to the resources that is needed to make the market purchasing really be worthwhile. Like, even through the even with the seasonal characters and everything, like, just not, they just won't have enough silver. There's no way. It's primarily meant for the experienced player. And then that's bad because, like, who are the experienced players with enough silver to be able to buy stuff? Usually the whales. So good idea, but it was released so late in the game where, okay, so the new people will benefit once they're able to get to a point where silver is no longer an issue and they can generate enough of it. For experienced players that are whales, it's not a problem because they can just whale silver as they need. It's the people in the middle, especially the dedicated free to play players, that are going to struggle because they'll only see the gap getting bigger the same amount of time that they spend. And one of the things about this game has been it's been bleeding players from the middle, like, well as the top. A lot of competitive players just left the game, but also a lot of players in the middle that normally would have risen up to take those places have also left the game. So this is a really unique challenge for this game. Is how do we make it feel like reasonably competitive for people if the systems that they're putting into place continually push higher CP further up, you know, but are great catch-up mechanisms for new players, but the new players are so far behind in CP that it doesn't matter. And it's the players in the middle that are getting squeezed, that are getting demotivated by these system changes. And what it seems like their answer to that is making more CP equalized PvP content. Now, having CP equalized PvP content is great for free-to-play players. Absolutely. But if everything becomes CP equalized, it completely negates, the money that whales have spent in order to build up their accounts. So they will continue to have this duality in this game. And more and more and more, what's happening is that there is a growing gap in the playing environments for those that are free to play or low spenders versus the whales. In so much as that if you haven't spent enough to get into the top 100 CP players in the server, it is highly unlikely that you will be high enough to join a guild that will compete for castle. So if you're a player that wanted to see like the Castle Siege content, but are not willing to spend, the money necessarily in order to get to the top CP needed, you will never see Castle. And that's unfortunate. But that's the reality of this game now. More and more and more, what they're doing is they're separating out the people that pay kind of into their own band. But basically, like, so I'm 58K, right? I am basically like I'm in the top 500 for CP. And basically I am becoming less and less competitive in the CP based PvP. So it really is becoming kind of locked into the now. Yo, you mentioned the succession skills that are coming. And what I think that'll do is that'll change the meta for some. I mean, I still think like Berserker will still be unbeatable. I agree. Well, I'm hopeful. Um, I've never played Raven, so like But here's the thing, Yo-Yo, right? It'll shake the game, but it'll shake the game in two separate ways. And this is why where I was talking about kind of the direction that the game is going is basically in one game they're having two completely separate playing environments. They're slowly more and more segregating the whales from the rest of the free to play. With an exception of like a few game modes, but those game modes more and more like free to play are not even bothering doing it, right? Like if you think about the number of guilds that actually do Black Sun, I mean, I would probably say like the top 30, maybe the top 30 guilds, and that's it. And probably not even all of the top 30 guilds. I think Zerk won't get grab. Yes, but I mean, the skill they're going to get is going to have uh it's going to have it's the basically vertical slash thing, right? So basically the berserker will have a CC proof horizontal, AoE slash, and then it's going to have a big vertical AoE slash that's also, super armor. So berserker will basically be you'll not be able to CC berserker. WL is short for what? A warlord. Well, so the succession skills are all PvP skills, right? So what's going to happen is like you're going to get a PvP skill from the other side. Um and the interesting thing is that for a lot of the builds, what's going to happen is the succession skill is going to actually offset a weakness for the build, right? So looking at like Raven Reaper, right? Yo-Yo, I think you'll agree that the available Reaper skills for the Raven will offset some of Raven's weaknesses, and same vice versa. Same thing with like Wusa Tori. I mean, Zerk Gladiator for sure. I mean, not that Zerk has a weakness, but for Gladiator, they're going to get um so Gladiator is going to be more beastly because they're going to get, you know, Zerk skills for as a succession skill. Um Bucksuck Corsair. I'm okay. Bucksuck. So as a Raven, like I get eaten by either Buccaneer or Corsair. Um, good ones. And I think when I was in Arena last, you were on Buck and owning me in Arena. My memory serves. um, so it is going to be interesting how the iframe timing works between as a switch between the class skills. But succession skills are only going to change the meta aspect of it, right? It doesn't matter how much of a weakness the succession skill offsets for the Raven, it does not overcome the fact that the damage differential starts at 500 CP and it escalates in an exponential manner from there. And when the gap between the rank 500 CP player and the rank 100 CP player is what? I'm ranked 500, right? I'm smack dab in the middle of count. Okay. Rank 100 is 5,000 CP. Okay. So the thing is that because the damage differential is not based upon the percent difference in CP, it is dependent upon the numerical difference in CP. 5,000 CP, there's no way. I have no chance against anybody. But what that's going to do is it's going to change the meta for the players that are up at the top, right? So Primrose and Lotus, I mean, I think it is all going to depend upon how these skills flow into each other and how the iframes either overlap or if there's a gap in iframes. Like those are all things that we have yet to see. And so, yes, it is going to change things up, but like at the end of the day, what it changes for people, you know, up in the top 100, 150 CP rank is going to be different than for people that are significantly below that in CP. I mean, it basically it is becoming two completely separate games. So what they're doing is they're starting to introduce more like CP balanced PvP, right? So they had the CP balanced Atumach, which I thought was great. It was awesome. That is where I'm interested to see how the changes in the meta will affect the counterplay between the whales and the non-whales. If it makes it possible for non-whales to consistently beat whale guilds in the CP equalized Atumach, that's also going to be a problem because then your spenders are leaving the game, and that's not good either. RNG was so bad, you were trying to get Ember to craft. You only ended up getting 7. Elridge, iframe. So in an attack animation, okay, there is a frame or two in that animation where your character won't take damage. Now, there are specific skills where they define that they won't take damage, right? Invincible while casting, okay? But So invincible while casting super armor while attacking, right? Casting attack. Casting attack, right? So basically, it is all about the timing, right? So invincible means you won't take damage. Super armor means you won't get CC'd. So, Elridge, like part of the reason why like PvP, like some PvPers have become so good is because they have learned the timings of their invincible frames so well, and they've put it into their muscle memory that they can just do it on repeat. Primrose iframe is one of the most broken. Glacial Wall with MP can be a long iframe. It's all about managing it. Yeah, so you have to remember that iframes can be broken with a grab, right? So it doesn't matter if you have super armor or not, right? Unless that skill says you can't be grabbed during this skill, you can still be grabbed. So what I also see happening is a lot more open grabs. Let's face it. In Arena, it's going to be just open grab. So, and that's going to be a real. So, okay. One of the most annoying things in Arena is the open grab. Because it just lacks skill. It lacks finesse. Like, it's just, it's effective because a grab gives you a length of time to do damage, right? But it's not the most effective or the most efficient. So Arena is just going to get more annoying because open grab is going to come back with a vengeance, and not just with new players, it's going to be with experienced players, just because people are going to be learning the iframe timing between the regular skills and the succession skills. And the only way to break through iframes, especially ones with super armor, is with a grab. And so I foresee in Arena like the Grandmaster Yacha coming back with a vengeance. Um, Igneous will stay and remain up at the top. Um, but again, like in normal Arena, what I foresee is like trash Arena players, like who trash PvP players that like to play on broken classes will get on one of those grab classes, sit in normal Arena and record when they get a whale, show them beating it, and put it up on YouTube. Like I can definitely foresee like that becoming a thing. Gonna be annoying as fuck. Um, Lotus, Blood Moon can't get grabbed. Yeah. So I mean, it is going to mean that people will have to relearn their classes with succession skills. And because you get a choice of two succession skills, you have to also learn how to counter, both of those succession skills. So it will make things harder. Wait, this one is not open. The Lotus flash step iframe deals the most damage, hands down. Yeah, I mean, I'm interested to see how it changes, like, the PvP mechanics. But I also know that what it's not going to change is it's not going to create any more like interaction between higher CP and mid to lower CP at all. It's not. Because the other problem with the succession skill is the fact that it is also a pay to win mechanic. Um so basically what I feel has been going on has been the underlying like power systems have continued to benefit those who pay more than others. And then what they do in order to um, offset those gains is they try to create like a CP balanced PvP mode so that so that people can experience the PvP modes and feel like that it's fair, right? It's putting a band-aid over the problem. And it's going it and I feel like it's going to get to a point where they have to, well, they'll either have to make a big change, well, no, they'll have to make a big change at some point. I would not be surprised that for global, if they do like a new fresh server opening in the next year or two. I think it is highly possible that they go that route. Why? Because their revenue, the trajectory of changes that they've been making revenue wise have been focused on new players and not sustaining old players, right? They're still bleeding players. How do I know? How do I know? We still don't have a full roster. I know. I mean, we have been a top 20 guild for 3 years now. We've never had as much trouble in filling our roster than in the past month and a half. And I will tell you, um like basically like the game's systems are slowly enforcing a split by CP for guild content, right? So unless they do something like, you know, more guild based content that is CP balanced, like it is only going to get bigger. You have a 19% skill damage increase on Blood Moon. Oh, you got a memory imprint with that skill. Damn. All right. I do have to do some bosses here while we talk. So the changes that they're making, from my perspective, like on the surface, they're really good changes. They're good changes to shake up the course of the game. Below the surface, though, I see problems in the fact that more and more like they're creating a second tier of play. Um, so yeah, it's going to be a real challenge. Um, I think it's sad that like the gap has gotten so much that the player base is kind of splitting. So then the other question is like, what does that mean for the game? Like when got the player base kind of basically like splitting off into two tiers. It basically it basically means that there will be like for every new player that starts the game, there will be um a very small amount that will stick around and grind it out, and there will be more that will get discouraged and will quit. And then I'm talking about new players, right? But once season is over, they'll look at the gap and look at whether they want to, try to spend and catch up, or figure out what they need to do in order to catch up, and they'll realize not enough. And I mean, even things like the Black Spirit mode change, where you just log in and you claim it. You have to remember, like that caps out at 4 hours for free to play players. 8 hours if you have Black Spirit Plus, and if you're free to play, Lotus Passive gives 15% skill damage increase on all skills. Yeah, I believe Megu also has that, and I know some other classes have that too. It'll just be interesting. I mean, the fact of the matter is that like I'm absolutely excited for the succession skills. I'm just sad that they're still not addressing like some of the fundamental underlying problems that prevent players from like playing with each other. Now, there is a new Black Sun mode coming out and for the Land of the Morning Light. And the way that they're addressing, what I've been talking about, right? The growing gap is they're CP capping it. So basically, they nerfed your wizard. I mean, the wizard was such a good farmer. Like, they nerfed your wizard, but they still haven't nerfed berserker. Like, I mean, what the fuck, PA? Um, so the new Black Sun mode is going to be CP capped. And so, well, okay, so if I read correctly, you go in with a tenth of your CP. So what that means is I'll be 5,800 CP and Cliff will be 7,500 CP. And you know the interesting thing is that um even with the min damage nerf that they put in, like that is actually a feasible battle. Like if you have a few people at 5,800 to go up against a 7,500, it'll be tough, but it can be done. Heard the loot was nerfed on New Black Sun. Um, I haven't checked for updates. The KR forums for that, but um, regardless of whether it was nerfed or not, um, it's not like you're going to get enough out of one session of Black Sun. So it'll be nice to have a new zone. Um, it'll be nice that it is anonymous, as in you won't see the names of who is coming. You'll only know your guild members. All right. With that said, but basically what I see happening is they're putting in more CP balanced things, but they're not changing the underlying systems. So there will be like fewer and fewer instances where players will intermingle. So it's just going to be a thing. All right, I'm gonna run this Garmoth here, and then I'll probably call it a night. And this is a short stream tonight, folks. Thoughts, comments? Oh, here's how you also know that that the top CP players have gone and are not like coming back. Warchild is an Obsidian. A year ago, he had no chance. So let's face it, if we still had the server population as we did a year ago, like Obsidian's min would probably be like what 67, 68. Um, Yang was here last week. And then there were four. All right. Ooh. Ooh. Hmm. All right. Well, wow. Okay. I guess I will have to upgrade somebody else's bracelet at some point. All right, folks. Um, I think that's it for me tonight. Because I think now I'm probably going to go AFK in Everfrost to continue grinding for Void Eyes, to awaken my first accessory. So we'll be back on Monday. Black Sun giveaway and more. Thank you very much for joining me. Have a good night.